The Model Shop live scale modeling show is brought to you by Tenant Controls, makers of lighting kits, soundboards, and more. Tenant Controls brings your models to life. And by HDA Model Works, suppliers of scale model lighting products, detail parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today. Well, hello there, everybody, and good evening. Welcome to episode 109 of The Model Shop. I'm your host, Boyd Crompton, here with you live from our shop in San Antonio, Texas tonight. It's great to be back. We had a couple of weeks off. We had a holiday weekend that disrupted our show schedule, and then last week I had some family stuff. We were on the road having some fun, so it's been a couple of weeks. We've got a good little show in store for you guys tonight. We're going to kick things off tonight with a visit over to our Model Shop Google community page to have a look at what everybody's been working on over there. We're right in the middle of our spring build that we decided to get together and do this year. This has got a bunch of people working on. We had our theme this year for anything from movies and television. A lot of activity going on over there. Glad to see all the participation. We've got a wide variety of subjects that people are building, so it's really cool to see what everybody's doing. Some of the people are already finished. We have it running it started on April 1st and it's running until June 1st, so there's about a month left. So if you still haven't gotten in on it, there's still plenty of time. But pretty amazing work by everybody so far. Some works in progress, some already completed kits, and we'll have a look at that. We're going to be taking a look on a model kit review tonight. This is a kit that I recently picked up. I saw somebody on YouTube do a build-up of this car, and I was watching some of the Jay Leno's Garage episodes. If you guys haven't ever seen that show and you're into automobiles, it's probably one of the better shows out there. Jay Leno has a massive collection of classic cars, and he has a beautiful garage out there in Los Angeles, California, and he takes you through one car at a time and does a detailed inspection of the car, talks about its history and all that, and then they take it for a little test drive at the end of each episode. He brings in cars that are owned by other people too, some really interesting stuff, and Jay happens to own one of these 1963 Chrysler turbine cars. These cars were never actually went into full production, but they built I think something around 50 or 60 of these cars, and they were very successful as far as the design and the engineering. They ran and drove beautifully. There was kind of this concept that by now we were all going to be driving turbine type cars, or cars of the future. And So I wanted to get this kit. I've known about this kit for years, but they were always kind of hard to find. I was lucky enough to find this one on eBay for a good price. It's actually been started a little bit, but nothing that I can't work with. So we'll take it out of the box and have a look at that. We're going to go on the bench tonight with a little bit of work. I'm going to actually finally get started on my spring build. This is the Airfix James Bond Auto Gyro Little Nelly from the movie, one of the 007 movies. I always forget which one it was. But I've wanted to build this kit for a while. We had this kit out and did a review on it, I guess last year sometime. So we're going to get started on this one tonight, get everything pulled off the parts trees and everything, and start cleaning up some of the parts and get a little bit of work done on that. Speaking of cutting parts off of the tree, I want to thank Roger Ball, who's one of our viewers. He sent me this really nice little sprue cutter. This is put out by a company called Gundam Planet, and he says it's one of the nicest sprue cutters you can get out there. He's been using one of these himself for a while. So we're going to put this little guy to the test here in just a little bit and start cutting some parts off the sprues for our little Nelly. And thanks again for sending that, Roger. That'll come in handy. He sent me a little note here, and it says that he's been using these for a while, and he says they're quite amazing at cutting super fine parts from the sprue. And the bonuses, I won't have to hear the X-Acto blade you use cutting on your on your table anymore. So we'll see if we can take care of that for you, Roger. I'll probably have to use the blade every once in a while, but we'll try to use these whenever we can. They look really nice. They do have a really fine tip on them. So without further ado, everybody, let's head over to the Google community page. I'm going to switch screens here real quick, and let's check and see what everybody's been working on. Pardon my voice and my eyes a little bit tonight, guys. I'm suffering from some really bad allergies here. We had a bunch of rain over the weekend, and it's really wiping me out, but I'll hang in there for you. First up, we've got Omar here, who's one of our really busy modelers here in the modeling group. He's always working on some cool stuff. He's actually starting here on his second kit that he's building up for the spring build that we're all working on. His first kit we'll have a look at in here in just a second. It's a little bit farther down the page, but this is from the Battle of the Planets, the G1. I'll blow this up here for you so you can have a look at it. See what other pictures he's got going on here. Looks like an interesting design there. I don't think I've ever seen that that show myself. Okay, it looks like the parts are molded in color, so that's kind of cool. It looks like some primer going on there. So Omar's already pretty busy on that kit. Here we've got Mark Shue. It's working on the Grandpa Munster kit by Mobius Models. That's a really sweet kit. We had a couple of those that were built up for the Halloween group build that we did this last year, and they're really nice. They come with a really nice likeness of Grandpa Munster, and you also get a nice vintage electrical panel there, as you can see. Mark's doing a nice job on that. Painting some of the parts here. I'm not sure if he's doing any lighting on that or not, but there's the base. And old Grandpa himself, his face. Nice job with that, Mark. Got that Munster's green skin tone looking pretty good. And scrolling down a little bit further, let's see here. We've got Dan Harris working on a Colonial Viper for the group build. Looks like he's got the interior cockpit lighting going on there. That's pretty sweet there. Nice job, Dan. And we have Mike Scarola, who's working on the Polar Lights Herbie the Love Bug kit. I didn't even know they made that kit, Mike. That's pretty cool. He says it's a nice version of a 63 Beetle. Some of you younger people might not remember Herbie the Love Bug, but that was a really popular series by Disney. Several films were made of that, about a racing VW Beetle that was actually alive. That's pretty cool. Let's see what Mike's got going on here. Looks like he's detailing out the dashboard. Yeah, that looks like a 63 VW dash, the way I remember it. One of the wheel hubs. Steering wheel. Looks like that kit's pretty nice. Nice detail on the seats. It's even got the roll bar that Herbie should have. Oh yeah, that's a great looking body. Really nice. Might have to try to find one of those kits. Very nice. Mike says it's a snap kit, but it does go together best with a little bit of glue, is what he's saying there in his little write-up. Thanks for the info and thanks for the pictures on that, Mike. Beautiful little kit. And let's see. We have Todd Millette working on a Back to the Future DeLorean. That's looking pretty cool. Okay, and here is Omar's first kit that he worked on that I mentioned at the top there. This is the classic Fun Dimensions $6 Million Man Bionic Bust Out Kit. And I had a look at these pictures a little earlier, and Omar did a nice job on this as usual. You can see he's got all the detail on there. He's really getting good at doing these figures. One thing I find interesting about these kits is it seems like the heads on them are a little bit kind of overly large, but that's true of most Hollywood movie actors, so I guess it might be in scale. But it's beautifully done. You can see he's got a lot of detail. It's a pretty good likeness of Lee Majors there, too. Pretty cool. I think Omar actually downloaded and printed some of these patches that are on the uniform. I believe he's mentioned that in his write-up. He's got all the bionic details painted in here in his arm and his leg. It's just pretty cool. Nice metallic going on the door there. Very nice job, Omar, if you're watching tonight. But these are vintage kits. They're pretty hard to find. You know, you do see them pop up on eBay once in a while. You never know. I'm not sure what Fun Dimensions might have been a division of MPC, so they're owned now by Polar Lights Round 2. Who knows? You might see these kits re-released at some point, if they still have the molds. I think there was either 3 or 4 different versions of these kits. Very nice job there, Omar. Omar always is active in all of our group builds that we do here. Let's scroll back on down here and see what else is going on. Greg Bryan, who's doing a TIE Fighter and X-Wing diorama type scene there. He's got the Death Star there in the background. That's pretty cool. Nice job, Greg. And we've got Lee Chambers, who just posted some pictures of his NX-01. I think this is the 350 scale. Let's have a look at this. Very nice on the lighting. Really like that design. That's definitely one of my favorite Starship designs. And there she is in all of her glory out in the sunlight. Nice photos there, Lee. Lee always has some nice pictures he takes. Lee does a lot of motorcycle builds, very beautiful motorcycle builds. I think he works on motorcycles in his real life. Let's see. Moving on down the line here. We've got, want to mention Aussie Trekkie Scott Hatchert. He's always putting on some really good, informative YouTube videos, guys. If you haven't checked out his channel, it's Aussie Trekkie on YouTube. He's currently building several ships. He's just putting the final touches on his USS Missouri that he converted from a USS New Jersey kit. Did a lot of scratch building on that to get it to look right. He's working on, I think, several different scales. He's got a 1/200 scale Battleship Bismarck, and he's got a 1/350 scale Battleship Bismarck, which has a very detailed multi-part, taking you through the entire build and showing you how to use photo etch and all that. So that's a really nice, informative video. Here he's got some pictures of the 200 scale Bismarck that he's working on. I think these are doing some photo etch work there. So definitely check that out. Here we have Bob Busking with a ME-262 jet fighter that he's working on. James Kirk with a sailing ship. And I wanted to show you guys this one. John Hunt did a beautiful job on this Enterprise E. I'm not sure which version, if it's the Nemesis or Insurrection version. I don't know the differences in those up close, but I think it's something to do with the markings and the weapons arrays as far as they're laid out. But beautiful job on the lighting and everything. Takes a lot of work because this is a kit that you have to cut all the windows out individually and get it all lined up. So a lot of time and effort put in there. Great job. Want to also mention, I don't know if I mentioned it or if it's probably been that long since we did a show. One of our community members, Derek Sabora, actually built the Enterprise E. Did a beautiful job on it, and AMT Round 2 Models had a sci-fi model contest, and Derek actually wound up winning that, so congratulations, Derek. They sent him a absolutely wonderful prize. Being a little sarcastic there, everybody in the community knows what's that all about. We won't bring it up again, Derek. But you can still say that you won the contest and be mighty proud. You did a great job. Okay, and we've got James Frost here, who I like to show James's work. James does a lot of paper modeling, and now by looking at this picture right here, you'd never know that that was a paper model, folks. That's just amazing. James downloads these files and prints them out, and then he carefully, works on it. It might take him, depending on how complex they are, it might take him several months to put one of these together. But let's have a look. This is a Formula race car, and it's just absolutely awesome. He does a great job with every one of these. He's even got the cardboard cutout figure there of the driver going on there. That's pretty cool, James. You can see how it all starts out. Just a totally flat surface. You start cutting everything out and folding it and assembling it. It's a lot of work, a lot of time and patience. But it's really coming out nice. Let's see what else we can find here, guys. Oh, I wanted to show you this one too. The Geordie Modeler. He just finished up one of his entry into our group build this year. This is the Munster's living room. I think this is a Mobius kit. I can't quite remember, but anyway, that kit's out there and it's available. It's a really cool kit because you basically get the entire Munster's living room. You get Grandpa hanging from the rafters there. You get Lily in her coffin chair and Herman in his electro chair. Little Eddie playing with Wolfie down there by the fireplace. So you can put a lot of detail into this kit. It's beautifully painted. Love the woodwork here on the coffin chair. Beautiful job. Got that Munster's green going on. We got a dead rat laying there. Yeah, the woodwork you did here is really, really nice. It's very realistic on the TV set and on the coffin chair. Beautiful work. Love the texturing on the carpet there too. Very nice. Always wanted to pick up one of those kits. That looks like a really fun kit to work on. Definitely love the original Munsters TV show. Let's see. Looks like we had a few posts just pop in here while we were looking. Roger Ball, who I just mentioned on the sprue cutter, he's doing a speeder bike here. Looks good. And somebody's working on Romulan war era set of starships. Some unique designs going on there. So as you can see, we've got a really active community, a lot of great modelers, and the best part that I like about all of it is that you'll notice on all these threads here that there are a lot of people that will always chime in and help out if there's somebody on here that has a question or having a problem or looking for something. There's always people on here willing to help out, so it's a really nice thing that everybody does there, and it's great to be part of a community like that. We have let's see, this is Jason Webster working on the Zvezda 1/2700 scale Star Destroyer, doing some lighting on that. I know you guys will be interested in seeing pictures of this kit. Revell is going to be releasing, Revell Germany is going to be releasing this kit any time now. I think it could probably come out this month. I think some people in Europe are already getting them. I think they'll be a little bit easier to get through Revell than they were through the Zvezda. People were ordering those through Zvezda, coming directly from the Russian Federation, and it was taking, you know, two months or so to get them. So it might be a little easier to get it through Revell Germany. Revell Germany and Revell USA now merged into one company too. It used to be that anything Revell Germany, you know, they couldn't market it here in the United States. It had to be, you know, if you got Revell Germany kits, you had to buy them online and stuff, have them shipped over. But that's not going to be the case anymore. So for like the Inner Darkness Enterprise kit and some of those other ones that people were wanting to get a hold of, those should be easier to get as well. I've been hanging on, waiting for the Revell release, so you'll see one of these kits here in the shop fairly soon. Really nice detail on that. And it's a huge model. It's like, I think it's like 25 or 30 inches long. It's just giant. Absolutely begs for lighting, as you can see he's doing here. Looks like it's turning out really nice. Lots of fun to be had with that. Okay, everybody. Well, there's a look, as I said, at what's going on here in the community. It's always a very active group. If you're not a member, come on and join. We welcome anybody aboard. It's completely free. There's no you know, there's nothing you have to do to sign up or anything like that. Just sign up on the page and you'll be right on in, and we'll welcome you in. We also take part. A lot of our members take part here in the show that we do every other week in our live chat session. It's always a good time. You can ask questions from them, and if you're having looking for something or you're having some kind of modeling problem, they'll help you out in there while we're doing the show. Of course, you can ask on the page. So it's a great group to be a part of, and I'm really excited to be at the participation that we're having in this year's community builds. We've done several so far, and they've all been very active. Okay, everybody, it's time to take a quick break. As soon as I come back, we're going to do our out-of-the-box look at the Chrysler turbine car, and it's a very interesting kit. It's got a lot of parts for an old Johan kit. You old car modeler guys out there know exactly who Johan is. They've been around a long time. They're gone now, but they produced a lot of cool kits, but they're usually kind of light on the detail. This kit is just out of this world. It's just loaded, I mean, with opening doors, trunk, hood, all the detail underneath of the hood. Even the interior is super detailed, so it should be a lot of fun to work on it. We'll see that in just a second when we come back, everybody. Okay, everybody, back with you once again, and here what we have tonight is something very, very interesting. Uh, This is the 1963 Chrysler turbine car. That's right, it's actually a real jet car that was produced by Chrysler. As I said, it never really actually made it to the public, but they took this car on a kind of a nationwide tour. They hand selected through a lottery type setup 50 owners to drive these cars and test them out and give their feedback. They were taken to the World's Fair that year, I think in '64 maybe, um, and so it was just well received. People were in love with it when they got a chance to be around it or see it or drive it, and everybody thought it was going to become a reality. But several issues happened that kind of killed the thing. Number one, Chrysler figured out that they were going to be expensive to build, mainly the engine, because the engine was a real turbine, which it's very expensive to manufacture the turbine impeller. This thing would run at speeds from idle at 22,000 RPM up to 45,000 RPM when it was at cruising speed. So you had to do some really precise manufacturing when you're doing that so that the turbine blades don't fly apart. But the biggest issue that that kind of came to their minds was that they were just too good. The engines were, going to last a long time. They had very few moving parts. Only one spark plug fired the fuel, and in fact, the car was designed to run on unleaded gasoline. But as they showed in several of their demonstrations, I learned all this stuff from watching the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Uh, the car would burn just about anything that was liquid and combustible, even French perfume, believe it or not. So it was truly an amazing vehicle and just a really beautiful, futuristic design. The body itself was done by the Ghia company. You guys out there know who Ghia is. They did the old Carmen Ghia VW sports cars and several other vehicles that they're known for. A company over in Italy, and so it had some unique design characteristics. The thing I love about it the best is this back end here with the definite jet or rocket look. The front end, not so much, but the front end mainly serves as a giant air inlet. This thing sucked a lot of air. The biggest engineering problem that they had to overcome was the exhaust heat temperature, which is right around 1,500 degrees. So the poor guy behind you at the stoplight, if you had the straight exhaust coming out of there, you'll melt his whole front end of his car. So they came up with a recirculation system where they actually pumped the exhaust gas back through some intercoolers here up front and then routed it to the rear and had it these kind of vents down here at the bottom, so the exhaust kind of blew out the bottom of the car. And it was an amazing feat of engineering, because at the end result was that the exhaust gas temperature coming out of here was colder than it was out of a regular internal combustion engine or a gasoline engine. So they took care of that problem for sure. And they developed a internal impeller system that made the car drive like a standard car, because all you had here was a regular Chrysler transmission, 3-speed 727 torque flight transmission, that instead of using a fluid torque converter, it just used an impeller type system, and the exhaust gas spun the impeller and created the power to turn the wheels, and the transmission took care of the rest. So it drove just like a regular car. So really, really cool. But the kit itself, this is a vintage kit. Now this kit's, I think, was released 3 different times originally, right around the time, maybe slightly after the time when the car was originally built, so in the mid to early 60s. This kit came out. Then again towards the end of the 60s, and then sometime in the 70s. I'm not sure which version this one is, but it's definitely old. You can tell by looking at the box and the instructions, but I was really pleased to get it. They're quite expensive to try to find them, and to try to find one that's complete is another thing. Finding one in a sealed box, original, you can expect to pay a lot for it. But I just kept looking on eBay ever so often, and finally one popped up. We're going to go ahead and open it up here. The reason that I got a pretty good deal on this was that somebody already started on it a little bit. They just did a little bit of painting on the deck lid here, and they've got part of the frame that's been glued in onto the back of this, and so everything else looks like it's pretty well complete and untouched. But so I can work with this. It's not exactly the right color. It's kind of a more of a light copper color than it needs to be. So I'm going to work on getting the right paint, get this, just put this in my purple powered, strip it back down and start over. They haven't clear coated it or anything, it just looks like regular enamel on here, so we can clean that up. But you can just see this futuristic shape here and how cool it is. And Johan was always known for doing really nice mold work on their bodies. They were made out of a little bit thicker plastic than normal, and they always looked exactly right. They didn't mess around when it came to that. Now in this case we have, as I said, opening trunk, opening hood, opening doors. Even the seats fold back in this car, so it's got a lot of moving parts and detail. This gives away the age of the kit a little bit. These instruction sheet here is fairly well yellowed. It might not show up on camera too well there, but it's definitely old. But let's pop some of these parts out here and start having a look. As I said, this is a very detailed kit. There's probably, I don't know, I would guess somewhere around 300, 400 parts here in this kit. But we've got the fully detailed front suspension here with steering, so the spindles are molded separately. It's got a drag link. It's got, you can build this up so the front end steers. Now, one thing I am noticing on this kit, and it was typical of these kits back in the day, is that there's a lot of flash. We're going to have to do a lot of cleaning up on this. You can see like the oil pan right here, how much flash it has around the edges of it. So we're going to have to work on that a little bit, but nothing we haven't seen before. Here we have some of the seat detail, even the 2 batteries that go in the trunk inside this little hatch. All that detail is there. The frame, the complete subframe from front to rear is all there. Here's the K-frame up front. Looks like Chrysler used similar K-frame to what they use on their standard cars. If you're a Mopar guy, you know exactly what the K-frame is. It's a kind of a front subframe structure. Now the way they put these together is that they would build the entire turbine up, the engine, the transmission, everything attached, and the front end here, and they would basically bring that up from underneath of the car, and it was all held on with just 4 large bolts, and that's it. So if you ever had to service it, put the car up on a lift, drop the 4 bolts, the whole drivetrain and engine drops right out of the car, lickety split. So they even made it nice to work on when you had to service it. So that's our first sprue. There's the gas tank there. Just burned regular unleaded gas. I'm not sure how big of a tank it was. Looks like it's about a 15 or 20 gallon tank. And here's our chrome, which I was really glad to see this was in good shape. One thing about the old vintage kits is they did a really good job on the chrome. They used to put it on there really thick back then, so we don't have to worry about any of that flaking or peeling off. We're going to do some nice work on this tail section here, getting that all looking like it should. They've got the Chrysler logos painted or molded on here for the license plates. You can see the detail on the front, which the front end of the car, like I said, is not as cool looking as the back, but it's still very unique, and you'll see that when we start building the model up. There isn't a very good picture of the front end of it on the model kit box here, but here are the parts, the outer sections of the turbine engine that are actually the pressure chambers there. You have these little chrome inserts here for the seats, so you have that, you have the front cushion, the back part, and then you have this center part here in chrome. So you get that nice chrome strip, that goes all the way around that divides that instead of having to paint that on. Here we have the exhaust duct work here, the impeller, the hubcaps, which we have to do some painting on those so they match the body. The steering wheel, that's just the horn ring actually, not the whole steering wheel. The vent wing windows. I'm just trying to pick everything out here. Some of it's got some flash on it, it's kind of hard to tell. We're going to have to do some cleanup on this for sure. Parts of the transmission and everything. Little details here for the chrome trim on the body. Just, but like I said, the good thing I'm really pleased with is the chrome is in good shape here, and it looks complete. It doesn't look like anything's come off the tree or anything's missing. Here we have the hood, more of the seats, the spare tire cover, back seat, which this car had a really nice interior in it. They did some futuristic styling on that too. The center hump had a turbine impeller on each end to give that kind of rocket look on the interior. A very unique little kind of miniature shifter on the floor, very European looking, even though it was an automatic. Uh, we have the hood here, which the hood has a little bit of a, I can get it on the shot there. If you see this little half circle right here, it's got a little indentation in it right there where it looks like almost like something round or was laying on it when the mold hadn't fully cured or whatever, made a little indentation. So, but I'll sand that down, put a little putty in that, clean that up, no problem. It's not warped or anything. It doesn't look like. Looks like it's pretty good. Here we have some more detail for the undercarriage, inner wheels. We'll have a look at these tires here, which is cool because they give you the white walls already done on these, which is nice because that's not a real hard thing to do, but it'll save you a little bit of time and money, time and effort. They look really nice and crisp. Of course, back in those days, they had these really skinny tires on the cars. Amazing that they were able to stay on the road at all with as heavy as they were. Now here we have the body itself. This has a really nice simulated vinyl top on it. You can feel the texture on this. We're going to be doing this car up. They only made these cars in one color. They call it turbine bronze, which I've already gone and looked up the factory paint code for this, so I just have to get my toners. There's one toner I'm missing. It's kind of a dark brown. Otherwise, I'd already have the color made, but I've got the toners that I need here to make this exact color. Depending on how expensive that toner is, I may or may not do that. I might go over to the hobby store and find a paint that's fairly close to it instead, because it'd be definitely cheaper to do it that way. But anyway, we're going to get that color matched up as close as we can. We'll see what happens on that. Pop the floor pan out, and you can see it's pretty straightforward. You do have some nice simulated carpeting in here. I'm going to probably do some flocking in this and in the trunk. Since the trunk can open, you can see it. Got the battery compartment that goes over here in the corner. It actually has the batteries that go inside there. You do have all of the detail for your foot pedals and everything. Beautiful detail on that center console. And as I mentioned, the seats actually fold up, fold forward and everything. They move, so that's really cool. Here we have, even the front fenders are separate. Separate fenders, doors, seat bottoms, the door panels. Now, looking at these door panels, after having just watched the episode of Jay Leno, I noticed that these look just exactly like they should. The detail's just right there. The dash. We have this nice, this is the air intake box that goes up at the front of the car, inside the engine compartment. Lots of flash here. You can see this, guys. This whole end of the sprue is like almost completely filled, but it's paper thin. I mean, it's even more thinner than paper. It's probably like tissue thin. I can push that piece out with my finger pretty easily. So, like I said, nothing that, especially if you build models back in the 60s and 70s, you'll know what this is all about. This just the way it was back then. Gives you more appreciation for how much the model kits have improved here with our recent kits. Here is the main body of the turbine engine itself. As I said, it looks fairly complete. There's just a lot of flash on it. We're going to have to clean that all up, make sure we don't remove anything that's not supposed to be removed, but we'll get that straightened out. Got one little loose part in here. Looks like a coil spring. And it is a real coil spring too, guys, if you can see that. It's not, I mean, it's completely open in the center. The coils are all individual. So that's cool. Hopefully we don't have too many loose parts floating around in here that are missing. Another thing that we have here is the glass, which for being, 30, 40-year-old model kit, this is in really good condition. It's got a couple of little light scuffs on it that I can polish right out with my polishing compound, no problem at all. The headlight lenses are there, the wing windows are there. Looks like everything is there that should be. The little lens inserts for the grille there up front. And we have our tail lights here molded in clear red. And some other smaller ones, I'm not sure where they... Oh, I think those go inside the doors. The doors have the car had a unique feature. When you open up the door, they had a little red flashing light on there to kind of warn people if you were passing by, kind of a safety feature. They kind of dropped that, though. I don't think it ever took off. Here's a differential. Probably used a regular standard 8 3/4 differential in this car. And we have the drive shaft. So I don't believe there's any decals at all with this kit. But we will have a look at the instructions here really quick. Let's get this put back in, just to give you a look at some vintage instructions. As I said, the body looks to be, that snaps in there really nice. I'm already encouraged about how the fit of this is going to be. Everybody that I had comment, I put out a little video introducing the build on my channel, and everybody that I had comment that's actually built this kit had the common theme going on, that the kit is a real pleasure to work on. It goes together really good, so that's good news. Okay, everything put back in here. And we'll check out the instructions. Alright, so there's a little bit of a write-up here on the basic operating theory of the turbine engine here, which you might find interesting. You can find out a lot more about this car. Just hop on YouTube and just go to Jay Leno's Garage and watch the episode on the turbine car. There's also several other YouTube videos out there about this car. But it's really, like I said, really fascinating. We start off here with the building of the motor and transmission. And it's pretty straightforward. They've just got these kind of black and white photos here of the actual parts. And then a written instruction, quite a bit different layout than what we're used to on more modern model kits. Here we have our front end going together, and as we see, we have these coil springs. Hopefully we have both of them. If not, I can make another one. We have the drag link going together, the rear differential springs, inner wheels. The wheels are rollable. They use little pegs. You even have the the drum backing on there. Hard to believe they came up with a turbine car, but they didn't have disc brakes. Kind of interesting. Even though they were around at that time, they were just starting to come in. Here we have the interior going together. Really cool looking dashboard and center console and everything, as you'll see if you watch a video on the real car. And then here we're going into the dropping the body onto the interior, putting the subframe chassis in up front, basically the same way the factory does it, all in one piece. These little filler panels here on the bottom, shock absorbers, and then ending up with doing all the body work, putting the fenders, hood, trunk, doors, and finally the taillights. It's going to be interesting to see how the doors and the hood and the hinges and all that clip into this model, because everything operates and opens and closes, so we'll see how that works out. Sometimes they, like the doors, especially on some of those kits, they sag really bad when they're open, but hopefully that won't be the case on this one. We'll see. So there you have it, guys. There's a look at the vintage Chrysler turbine car. Probably about a week or so I'm going to start the build series on my regular TrekWorks YouTube channel and take you through this. It'll probably take 3 or 4 episodes to build the car. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. Doesn't come with the antenna here. I was going to mention that. I'm not sure. It had an electric antenna in the car, and it could either be down or up, so I may just build it without it. I think it looks cleaner without the antenna up anyway, just something that'll get broke off. But pretty cool, pretty cool. And we're going to try to match this beautiful color here. It's sort of a burnt orange metallic with a beautiful black vinyl top. One thing I wanted to mention that I picked up just specifically for doing this kit, another product I wanted to talk to you guys about. I forgot to mention it at the top of the show. I picked up these chrome marker pens from Molotow. That's spelled M-O-L-O-T-O-W, Molotow. And they have these in different diameters on the tip. Now I got a really fine one, which is a 1mm, and then I got the 4mm, which is this one here, the little bit thicker one. And guys, I want to tell you, this is some fantastic, really realistic looking chrome. It's about as close as you can get to realistic chrome. There's the really fine tip. I just figured I'd try, the really fine one and move up a little bit and see what, they also have some even bigger than that, and some they have the 2 and the 3mm too. But I bought these specifically for this kit here. Now, you can use bare metal foil, which I've used before, But we're going to try these out on this just for this, just for the sake of trying it. And if I don't like it, I can always stop and take it back off and put bare metal foil on the car. But we're going to try it. I've seen a couple of builds. I forgot there was a gentleman on YouTube here a couple of weeks ago I was watching. He built up a beautiful early 70s Torino, and it was done in the dark green, and the chrome work looked really nice on it. I thought, okay, he used bare metal foil, and in the video he mentions that he used these, and I was really impressed by how it looked. Much better than a silver Sharpie. I mean, there's no comparison. This is much closer to realistic chrome or stainless than a silver Sharpie, which I've had pretty good results using a silver Sharpie, a standard one like this, on some of my model car builds, and people couldn't even tell the difference. But this is, this is going to be really neat to try. It's more of a marker paint pen than it is an actual marker. If you're used to using a Sharpie and the way it flows, this flows out a little thicker than that. If you gotta, it's one of those kind of press and release things, So you're gonna have to be careful on how you do that and not blob a bunch of it out of there. I'm gonna try to practice with them a little bit before I start going here. But really a good product. They're around. I got these for around $4 a piece off of eBay, and so they're quite hot right now. A lot of people in the modeling community, especially the car guys, are pretty excited about it. So great alternative for bare metal foil. Now, the bottom of the car here, as you can see, all the way around, it had stainless trim on it, and I was noticing that the cars in their current condition, like the one Jay Leno has, this looks like a dull aluminum on the car because it's gotten old. But originally it was polished to a really high luster here, and you could see in one of the commercials, that little intro I made, my little video intro, there's a commercial about the car, and when you see it sitting there and it starting to move, you see the cracks on the road beneath it, reflecting onto it, just like a mirror. So it was really highly polished. So I'm either going to use some bare metal foil on that bottom part or some film that I have here, or I may try to paint it with some of that duplicolor chrome that I have to get that to look good, because we don't want to do an area that big with one of these pens. It would look bad. It's only meant for doing these really fine little lines and stuff. So anyway, that's our plan for that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the out-of-the-box kit review. Kind of a rare and interesting kit. But like I said, not impossible to find. You can find these out there. Expect to pay a little bit more for them, especially if you were to find one in a completely sealed box. You're going to pay a lot for it, or if it's a first release kit. But I paid $25 for this one. I thought it was reasonable. That's about the price of a new model car kit. So if you keep, if you're patient and you keep watching and checking, you can find a good deal. So and maybe after seeing the video build series, you'll be interested in building one of these. So okay, guys, that's it for our out-of-the-box kit review for tonight. We'll come back in just a second after the break, and we're going to get busy on the bench here, try out these sprue cutters from Roger Ball by Gundam Planet, and see how they work on getting some parts removed off the sprues for our Airfix Little Nelly kit. Be right back, everybody. Rightio, we're back with you again, everyone. And here we have our little long overdue James Bond little Nelly kit. I broke this out of my stash, I guess, about almost a year ago. We had kind of a viewers vote thing going on there, and you guys picked out this kit as far as one of the kits you wanted to see build up on the show. And I just never got around to it. It kept getting put on the back burner. So, but it's got some really small, intricate parts. You got this little framework and everything that's inside of this little body shell here that makes up the the helicopter, or I guess we call this a gyrocopter, auto gyro. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to test out this sprue cutter and put it through the ringer here and see how it works. I'm sure it's going to work just fine, but let's go ahead and start pulling everything out here. Really kind of happy to finally get started on this kit. It's kind of cool because it's again, it's a vintage kit as well. It's fairly old. I think it's from probably the mid to late 70s. Old Airfix kit. Seen some of these built up on YouTube, and they turn out pretty nice. But we've got our little part sprue here. The nice thing about this kit too is it does come with a Bond figure in scale that you have for a pilot, so that's pretty cool. But let's check out our instructions here first and see what we have to remove from the sprue. I don't want to take anything off that I don't have to just yet. But we've got this, you can see we've got this framework here and the basic body shell, which I haven't even test fitted any of this stuff yet to see how it's going to look, but it doesn't look too bad. Not too huge of a gap there or anything. Pretty nice. Okay. I don't remember if this kit came with any decals or not. Oh yeah, it does. Oh, pretty colorful too. Like I said, it's been a while. Here we go. Pretty nifty. Alright, so get this out of the way. Have a look here. Where do we start? Okay, it looks like we have the basic sort of the spine there at the bottom, which is on this sprue right here. Not a huge parts count with this kit, so let's see how our little sprue clipper works out here. And he is right, you can get really close. Really close. And it is definitely sharp. I mean, it cut that off of there without hardly leaving any kind of a burr at all, so I'm already liking these. I think we need this little piece here on the tail. Looks like everything else there is supposed to stay, except for this part right here. And this little insert. Let's see if we can clip that out of there without... It does clip really clean, that is for sure. Okay, so we've got that one. And we need the upright parts of the frame, which we've already got one that's loose here. Gotta cut this little insert out of that one. I believe this frame is supposed to be done in sort of a silver aluminum. So we'll kind of have to see how far we can assemble here and what we've got to start painting and everything first before we can go any further. Got this other upright over here. We're looking for the fuel tank. Airfix is a company that's big over in the UK, and just like any other model kit manufacturer, there's good and there's bad. You hear some horror stories about Airfix, but they do produce a wide variety of models with varying subjects: cars, airplanes, tanks, ships, and they have a massive catalog of model kits, so they've been around a long time. They're being reproduced now under a different brand name, I believe. Okay, so we've got just some small little bitty parts there. Now here's something interesting. The Little Nelly Army version. Now I'm not sure what that means. We want to do the Bond version. Something different about the rotor assembly here. I'm not sure what they're talking about there, but anyway, let's look for those parts. Got our basic frame here. Looking for the rotor assembly. That part there I know we need. Let's see. So kind of oval-shaped piece. It's not popping out for me here on the sprue. There we go. Got two different, got this little retainer here. It's interesting. Let me see if I can spot this with my, it doesn't look like these parts are numbered. Definitely not numbered. And we've got two different ones here, so we'll just kind of have to guess, but we've got that little circle. It's kind of a retainer that holds the rotor in place so that you can glue it on and have it still be able to spin. Hopefully that's the right one. Okay, and we've got the rotor assembly itself. If you can spot that somewhere. There we go. Okay, so we have some basic pieces here. Yeah, I'll have to say just a little bit of feedback already, guys. These are really nice, and I can tell you right now they are super sharp. I mean, I don't have to exert any pressure whatsoever to get it to cut. Cuts through like a razor blade. The only long-term test will just be how well they hold up over time, but I'm sure they're probably a high-quality steel they're made out of. So thanks again for sending those, Roger. Appreciate that. Okay, let's see here. Just a little bit of cleanup required. Just taking my usual 320 grit paper here, guys, and just scuffing on the edges a little bit. I just like to round off all the edges a little bit on all these parts, you know, get rid of that sharp mold line. Just looks better in the end. Okay, so we've got that piece. Now we can test this to see if this is the right size retainer on here. See that, where'd that other one go? I think that's the wrong one. Okay, well, we guessed there and we guessed wrong, guys. So that one probably goes for the tail rotor. Um, so I don't want to lose that. Put that over here. Okay, so let's get our Model Master glue ready to go here. And build up the rotor assembly first. Got this little piece here. This kit's not bad for flash, not near as bad as that turbine kit I just showed you. There's a little bit here, but it's perfectly acceptable. Even some of the modern kits we get still sometimes have a little bit of flash on them. But I think you're going to see that gradually improving and improving. They're using a new type of what they call side pull injection molding now, where they're able to even create, parts like this that are curved and shaped and everything all in one piece, which is nice because you eliminate, a lot of the seam lines and all that. I've seen that on some of the Dragon model kits already. Really big improvement. Okay, so we've got the rotor that goes through here. Sure hope that's the right part, because that doesn't match the illustration at all. They've got on the top of it, they've got shown this little piece here as being raised a whole lot more, but this is pretty flat. Huh. I don't see another one that looks like that, though. Could be one of the complaints from the UK modelers that the instructions aren't so great on these kits, and the parts aren't numbered, so that's kind of interesting. But, like I said, not a lot going on here. We should be able to figure most of it out. I don't see anything else that looks remotely like that. We can test it out here on this. It does fit, so it must be the part. Okay, so we put the rotor through there. Put a little spot of glue. Don't want to glue it too much though, so we get our nice movement. Okay, we've got that, and then this glues down onto the top of the other piece. Okay, pretty straightforward there. And now it's the frame. Now I know that the tail is yellow on this thing, so it's attached to the frame already. So as I said, we can't build too far here because I'm going to have to be able to get into some areas to do some painting. But we can, let's see, we've got the fuel tank and the instrument cluster. Okay, so for that little Nelly version, we want the A parts. Okay, there's a difference in the parts. On the instrument cluster, it looks like. Okay, so alright, well, first thing we can do is look for this little round piece here. It's this piece right here. You can see by looking at this that it was a private guy that some of you guys out there might even know his name. I think it has it right up above him on the box, if I'm not mistaken, but he was a private guy that engineered this whole thing, And I think he's still around, if I'm not mistaken. He still flies this thing at air shows and stuff. He's got to be getting pretty old by now, but it's he still likes to take it out and demonstrate it. And he's built several versions of it, and it's got unique safety feature being that it's an auto gyro. If you ever lose engine power or anything, the thing will auto rotate and you can land. You have power to land no matter what, even if the engine completely stops. So it's very safe and highly maneuverable, as you saw in the film. They didn't fake anything in the well, the rockets and all that were fake, but the maneuverability and speed that it had were all real that they demonstrated in the movie. Pretty cool. Okay, so we've got that little piece that goes down there. This side down. And then this piece. Okay, I see the difference now. Yeah, you've got your different instrument cluster there. One's kind of more rounded and the other one's sort of more triangle shaped. Let's clean this part up here a little bit. Okay, now looks like those holes go forward. Just give you an overall size of this thing. Something like that. Not going to be super huge, which is a good thing nowadays with my shelf space getting very limited. If you guys noticed or not at the beginning of the show, I did a major overhaul out in the garage here. I opened it up quite a bit. I'm actually going to be putting some shelves up out here on the far wall, and that's going to help me a lot with my space issue. But I opened this thing up. The work area that I had here was just basically about a lane and a half wide. This is a 2.5 car garage, and I was using like a half a car width. The rest was all junk that we had accumulated over the last 20 years, like people do. And we got rid of it all. So I've got this whole entire thing behind this shelf that's behind me now. It's all been opened up, and I bought some big 6-foot tables so I can have, especially with my client work, I can have several things, models, spread out at once. And just the thing that was frustrating is that when I was working on something, I had to completely pack it up and put it away, and then share the workspace with another kit and then bring all that out. So now I can have, when I start something, I can just leave it in that state and come back to it without having to pack it up. It's going to be a big time saver. So I want to thank my wife for coming out and helping me with that. We did a lot of work. It was we wanted to get it done before it started getting too hot around here. So it's going to make a big difference. And you can hear an echo in here again, like you used to be able to. Okay, so that's on there. Now it looks like this little 2 halves of the fuel tank. I'll clean this up a little bit. Alrighty. Kind of odd that some of these parts have locating pins on them and some of them don't at all. Kind of strange. Alright, so this is kind of sloped forward with the open end facing towards the rear. Alright, let's put some glue on this. And it basically goes around this assembly, it looks like. Yep, it sure does. Okay. Interesting design. Alright, and we have a little filler panel that goes at the rear, which is this little part right here. Yeah, I gotta say that screw cutter, you can get so close on that I mean, it's just a light scuff and that excess plastic is gone. So pretty slick. It's probably gonna be. I'm probably gonna say to myself, why hadn't I got one of those a long time ago? It's probably basic modeling tools for most people out there. But you know, I'm kind of an old schooler and do it the hard way sometimes. I've been making do with what I've had, but. Okay, that fit on there really nice. It's all going together really well. I'm not complaining at all about the gaps or the fit or anything. So, not bad. Alright, we've got this little piece that goes on the top. Let me see here. Clean this up just a little bit. It sits on there just like that. I think we're going to hold off on putting that on there for right now. What I'm going to do with that is, since it's kind of a big part and it's just sitting on a little contact area, I'm going to use a little bit of CA glue on that and just get it set, and then I'll touch up around it with some styrene glue. You know, you can do that. CA glue is not really meant for long-term, you know, gluing styrene parts together, but you can use it for getting something, you know, on quickly and just temporarily holding it in place. And then you can just kind of dab around it with some regular model glue, and it'll still, you know, bond the plastic and hold it together. So that's probably what we're going to do there. Got the little foot pedals there, and those are supposed to be silver as well, so we might as well glue those on if I can find them here. Looks like one right there. Nope, that's it. No numbers on the parts, guys, so if you get this kit, you're just going to have to hunt everything down. It's not a big deal, like I said, because it's not a high parts count kit. If it was, you'd be spending some time here. Okay, here's our foot pedals. Just glue it in very simply right up there up in the front. And I think we're going to get to this point here and we're going to stop, guys, because I'm going to have to paint I'll get this frame painted and everything, and then there's the yellow part of the tail. I've got my yellow color all picked out for this already. Just going to use some craft acrylic paints. Okay, well, let's show what we've got so far. Our fuel tank, we've got our foot pedals. There's this flight stick here that has to be painted silver with a black handle is what they're calling for. The gas tank is supposed to be done in aluminum frame, more of a silver type. And then we got to do the yellow on the tail. So I'm going to stop there. We've got a rotor assembly done too. That basically mounts right here on the top. But as I said, I'm going to glue that little piece on and let that get good and set up before I try to do that, so it's not flopping all over the place. We make sure we get it straight. I got to kind of figure out too how much of it, if it's supposed to be leaning forward or if it's supposed to be straight up and down and all that. I'll have to check it out a little bit more detail here. But there we are. We're off to a nice little start on our little Nelly. So we'll come back next week and work on it some more. The pirate ship, I'll be back to working on that. We started on that one, but I've got to get this done in time for our spring build, so I decided to interrupt that with this one instead. But we'll definitely come back to that one. We're going to be right where we left off. I just got the deck done, the cannons installed, and now we've got to do the two halves of the hull. I've got to paint that before I put it together. And we're going to do some more wood type simulation painting on that. So a little bit of fun with the little Nelly tonight, and I'll be working on a little bit more. Like I said, I'll get this all painted, so by the time you guys see it again on the next show, it'll be we can move further along. I might get the frame put together, and then we'll work on the motor and the body and all that, and working on the little Bond figure himself. That should be fun to paint him too. Here's what he looks like. Let's see. Let's get him removed from the sprue here. Can't tell much on the likeness of the face because it's kind of interesting. On the box art, they have him in his tuxedo, flying with his Walther PPK. But here he's in his flight suit, the way he looked in the film. He's got a nifty little helmet there, and the little I'm not sure what the thing was on the top, if it's a camera or what it is. And something on the top of his helmet there, but pretty cool. And that detail looks exactly right. Little kind of a stubby little windshield here, which basically doesn't serve any purpose at all. Your head's above it, so you're getting stuff right in your face, but cool concept anyway. Okay guys, back again right after the break. All right, everybody, back with you again. Hope you enjoyed what we had for you tonight. Again, these little sprue cutters, they are the bomb. I'm really digging these things. So thanks again for sending those out to us, Roger. And again, that was Gundam Planet that makes these. They've got a nifty little spring in there too, so they excuse me, so they return when you're finished cutting and everything. So nice feel in your hand and everything too. Apologize for the coughing and the red eyes, guys. Just like I said, I'm getting creamed by allergies, so I'm going to have to kind of keep our shout outs and our Q&A a little bit short here tonight. But let's head over there now and see who's on board with us here tonight. Rolling up to the top, I've got, let's see. Okay, we've got Gadgetron 3000 with us tonight. Nice to see you. Gadgetron's kind of our community modeling news reporter. He posts a lot of stuff on our community about upcoming model kits and things that are going on. So we always appreciate that. Good to see you tonight, Gadgetron. Mark Shue, Dadnator24. Hey, Rick, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you around here the last few episodes. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're still going to make it down to the Model Fiesta show this next year, or this coming year already. Looking forward to that. Got a few other people from around the community that have gotten a hold of me and said they're going to make it, so we'll have a nice little get together, have you guys over to the house here. We're going to do a little cookout and stuff after the show and all that, so I'm looking forward to that. Email me about that, Rick, if you have my email, and I'll give you some details about that. Let's see, we've got Chris Cortell. Nice to see you, Chris. I've been drinking my favorite beverage out of your mug here. If you guys know, they did a little fundraiser for Chris. Oh, yeah, a loud motorcycle go by. Fundraiser for Chris where his brother organized it, and they sold these little coffee mugs, and I was happy to get one. Thanks so much. It's a great little mug. I love the logo on it, too. They might be doing that again, or it's still running, so you can go over to the Classic Plastic 101 Hangout on Facebook, Chris's page over there, and you can find out details about that. Barrick13 is with us tonight. Mike Scarola, Omar, who we just talked about some of the work he's been doing over on the community page. Outsider238, Modeler X, Shannon Freeman. Haven't seen Shannon in a while either. Nice to see Shannon on tonight. Jim Clark, Tenant Controls, Ralph at Tenant Controls. Nice to see you on board, Ralph. I'm working on a client build enterprise right now using the new 50th anniversary Tenant Controls lighting kit with the motorized motors, and I got to tell you guys, it's phenomenal. It's coming out really, really nice. Ralph did a great job on that. We showed you the little video demo of that working here a couple of weeks ago, and I'll put up a video on my page when I get this done. I've been doing some work on getting the Bassards to look like they did on the restored 11-foot Smithsonian model. Now, what they did on that, if you guys notice, if you go look at those videos, they have the domes done in sort of a copper color when they're not turned on. You know, you see videos of when it's running, but when I was interested to see what it looked like when it was shut off, because they've got kind of a different look going on there now, and they're definitely painted in coppers. But you know, when it comes on, you can see through it. So that's exactly what I did on this one, and it looks really nice. I'll show you that in a little while here, maybe later, a little bit later this week. Let's see, Clint Llewellyn's here tonight. Mark Shue. Mark is another one that we featured at the beginning of the show, the work he's doing. Mike Scarola, same thing. We've got Kenny here with Sci-Fi Fantasy. Nice to see you, Kenny. Dan Harris. George Volkowski. Dennis with Federation Shipyard. Nice to see you, Dennis. Phil Sprueworks. Roger Ball. Nice to see you on tonight, Roger, and thanks again for those cutters. Appreciate it. John Bennett. Space Pirate. Nice to see you, Chris. I hope you're doing well. Haven't heard from you in a while. Got Heath Tompkins. I think it's Heath. He's calling it Heath's Model Builds now, but I think that's Heath. Let's see. Daniel Jumper. Daniel says he's a CAD draft designer, and he's looking for work right now. He's out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, so anybody out here that needs that type of a service, contact Daniel on that. Chris Farrell, uh, Brian Knowles, the captain. Ben Clemens. Ben says, I guess that's why I never built an Airfix kit. Oh, they're not that bad, Ben. You know, anytime you work on models, you're gonna. I don't mean to be bashing on it. I mean, it's everything is, we're all used to that type of work on any kind of model kit. You're gonna have to modify, chop, cut. You know, it's a pretty old kit, so I'm overall, so far I'm very pleased with it so far. I've seen these built up, and they do turn out really nice. Derek Sabora is here. Nice to see you, Derek. And again, congratulations on the win. They ran that whole contest kind of strange, I'll have to say. The people were having a hard time figuring out places to put their posts and everything, but I'm glad somebody from our community won it, and definitely well deserved. Derek, you did a beautiful job. Derek's kind of known for doing his military diorama work, but he did a absolutely stunning job on that Enterprise E. It turned out fantastic. So you can really be proud of that, Derek. Uh, Multi-skilled modeler there, multi-talented. Uh, B. Tilly's with us tonight. Rick says his name was Ken Wallace and he died in 2013. That must have been the inventor of the auto gyro. I thought he was still around, but yeah, that's kind of recent. It's very genius type individual, and he had several versions of these things that he created. And as I said, they're extremely safe to fly. They've adopted that design and are still in use today. Don't forget to type something in the chat if you guys are out there watching. That way I can call out your name. It only pops up if you say something in the chat. T Commando is here tonight. Nice to see you. Rick Hanlon. As you can see behind me, Rick says he's working on his. He wants to get his hobby room opened up in his basement. As you can see behind me, guys, I've opened this up a whole bunch. Everything is a lot further back behind me than it was, and if you can kind of see through the shelving there, that whole area up behind there has all been opened up too. So what a big difference! I'm real happy about that. Now all I have to do is add some more lighting. I've got some dark spots in here. I want to get this thing lit up like a laboratory. You know, one thing about working on models and all that and small stuff, you got to have lots of light. I have a dedicated area for painting and everything, and letting everything sit while it's drying and all that. So it's going to work out a lot better. James Schulenberg's with us. Not sure if I called him out already. Okay, I think I'm just about down to the bottom. Mike Mitchell. Let me see. I'm seeing some questions pop up here. Oh, we got Chuck Brooks. Nice to see you, Chuck. I keep missing you guys on Uvu. I checked in a few times this week and I didn't see anybody in the house, so I didn't hang around too long. Okay, Rick, I'm going to write down. I see that. I'm going to write down your email there. Pretty easy to remember. Yeah, I'll send you some information about that, Rick. They haven't announced the actual day of the show yet, but you can count on it being sometime in the middle of February again. As far as I know, they have said it's going to be at the same location, so that's good because I'm literally just a few blocks away. So after the show's over, or maybe the night before, we'll see when you guys are all getting into town. We'll have a little cookout over here, give you a tour of the shop, maybe have you on the show, uh, show you the model room, all that good stuff, and then we'll head over to the show. I'm looking forward to that. Steve Abrams, nice to have you with us. And your question is Gundam Planet makes those sprue cutters. And they are definitely very high quality, very nice. Make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Oh, Matt Alkire is here tonight. Nice to see you, Matt. Eric Hawkins. Barry Steinledge. A bunch of people checking in now. Got James Frost, e-biker. We showed you his Formula car, the paper model he's building. I'm always fascinated by that, James. You do a great job. Brent Schmidt. I think he might be new with us. Thanks for joining us tonight, Brent. You'll find this a very friendly bunch of people here. The chat session is a big part of what we do here. Thomas Johnson, how's the 1350 hood coming along? I've done a little bit of work on it, Thomas. So actually, a lot of work. I'll get you guys caught up on that. I mean to be putting out some videos on YouTube. I've been just really busy. We did the garage thing out here, and I've had some housework I've been doing, for spring and my client work, of course. So, but we're gonna get back to all that. You won't miss a thing. I've got some photo etch work done on it. I've got the most of the first level of the decking done. All the cabin work that goes on the boat deck level. I've got that pretty much done. I've got all the I bought the aftermarket wood decking for it, and the brass propellers, the metal gun barrels, and all that. I've got all the wood decking laid down on it. I use that same brand that I used on my Bismarck, the MK1. That seems to work very, very nice. I don't have any problem at all with it lifting or anything like that. And I like their stuff because it's already all cut out. You don't have to cut out anything. It fits on the deck. I mean, like a glove. Roger says keep them in the protective sleeve. They are fragile and they can break. Or Roger. I'll do that. Yeah, Thomas Johnson saying his allergies are killing him right now. I usually only get it in the spring, and especially if it rains. I think it kicks up all the pollen and stuff. A few weeks ago, I had the coughs and the sneezes. Now it's just my eyes and dry throat. Yep, doing good here, Matt. Good to see you. Hope you're working on something. Got Mike checking in, Rocket Boy 1969. A whole bunch of people checking in now. How many people we got watching? We're at 102. Nice. Nice crowd tonight. Daniel Jumper. Let's see. Sometimes I'm getting old, guys. I may repeat myself. I hope you don't mind. Christopher Baxley. Jason Matthews. Jason says it's his first time. He says, glad you're running your channel. It's helped me get back into modeling after a 20-year hiatus. Well, that's really good to hear. I love hearing that every time I hear that, Jason. And that's what it's all about. I'm the same thing as you. I took about a 30-year hiatus and got back into it. So never too old to get back into it, and you'll find that it's changed quite a bit for the better. Not only with this YouTube and places you can go to find out, information, all the internet with all the forums and everything out there, but just the products and the kits and everything, the paint, the glue, everything's much improved. It's much more enjoyable. Paul De Tomaso, nice to see you, Paul. Okay, Chris is saying, Chris Cortell says his brother has a Facebook page. If you go to Facebook, type in Classic Plastic 101 Hangout, there should be a link to the page for the cups. So guys, again, if you want to get yourself one of these really nice coffee mugs, I'm not a coffee man myself, but I'm drinking other beverages out of it, and when I get tired of that, I'll probably store some stuff, some paintbrushes or something in it. And it's got a great little logo on there, and as you guys know, Chris is battling cancer, and sounds like he's doing quite well. I'm been watching his YouTube videos. He sounds good. He's getting a little bit of work done, and it tires him out. He's going through some therapy. He doesn't like to talk about it too much, but Chris, just keep hanging in there, buddy. I think you're gonna make it, and you're gonna be around with us for a long time. And keep that positive attitude. And having the hobby is a big thing, to get it off your mind and everything. So we're all thinking about you out here, and the community wouldn't be the same without you, buddy. That's for darn sure. Let's see. Yeah, my favorite album too, Heath. Definitely. I've been watching some Pink Floyd stuff. And by the way, for some of you guys out there that are Pink Floyd fans, you've got to check out a band called Brit Floyd. That's Brit, Brit Floyd. They're a British band. They're a tribute band, and you will actually really think you're watching. They have their YouTube videos like live at Red Rock and some other places at Amsterdam. You will think you are watching the real Pink Floyd. And maybe they might even be better than the real Pink Floyd. Especially since some of the guys in Pink Floyd are getting kind of old, and Roger Waters is no longer with them. The singers that they have are exact. They're fantastic musicians. They're actually on tour. I've got tickets. We're going to see the show here in Austin, Texas. I think it's on. It's either June 16th or July 16th. I can't remember, but I can't wait to see them. I mean, I'm a huge, like a lot of people, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, and it's definitely hard or almost impossible to see the original band anymore, but they put on a fantastic stage show, and the backup singers that they have on some of the Pink Floyd stuff and all that, like for Wish You Were Here and all that, it is fantastic. If you watch one of the videos, like I said, you're going to think you're really watching Pink Floyd. Michael Mitchell's asking any tips on the Mobius new series Battlestar Galactica kit. Mike, I haven't built that model. I have the kit, but there's probably some people here that have built it. If you're interested, just head over to our Google page. That's the model shop on the Google community, and put your question in there, and I'm sure somebody can answer it for you. There's probably been a lot of people here in the little group that have built that. I want to get around to it one of these days. It looks like a nice kit. I did get your photos, Heath. Chad B, I think he might be new. Working on lighting my Battlestar Pegasus, he says. Leona Timber Company says he's not going to get his group build done in time. He's moving, and the new place doesn't have a place for hobbies. Capital yet. Well, good for you, Leona. And yeah, we're looking forward to whenever you get time to get it finished up. We'll look forward to seeing it anyway. There's no, this is all about fun. We're not, this isn't a contest this time around or anything like that. It's just for fun. So whenever you get it done, we'll be glad to see it. Jim Clark's got to check out for tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight, Jim, and we'll see you next time. Brian Knowles is asking about the 350 scale Reliant project. Well, that's a good question, Brian. I just got an email from Elliot Brown the other day. He's hard at work on it. He's doing lots of improvements. He's going to have some interesting parts available for that kit once we're all said and done here. So just be patient, everybody. That's not something that's going to disappear. We're going to definitely get back to it. It just takes a little while. You know, he's doing a lot of photo etch development for it, and redoing the entire back panel, recasting the entire back panel in clear so that we can get those shuttle bay doors and everything lit up. And I'll just have to see what kind of modifying I'm going to have to do on the model beyond what I've already done once I get everything back. But Elliot is a really talented guy, and so I think it's going to be well worth the wait. Derek Sabora is asking if I ever prime photo etch parts. Yes, Derek, I just use regular automotive primer because it's meant to bond to metal and things like that. I just lightly scuff it if I can. What I'll usually do is on the photo etch thing, Derek, before I do anything, when it's still all flat and it's laying down, I'll take some double-aught steel wool and just scuff over the whole thing. You got to be kind of careful if there's some really fine stuff on there, you know, not to snag it and bend it or anything like that. But I'll put a little bit of a scuff on it, and then I'll anneal it, which is, you know, taking a little propane torch or something like that and just heating it all up. That does two things. It takes that springiness out of the brass, and it also will burn off any crud that might be on there that, you know, paint might not stick to. That's just kind of my process, and I haven't had any problem. Regular automotive primer is meant to stick to metal, so it should work pretty good on that. Now I know that I'm gonna have a hard time thinking of the name of the company, but the same company that makes Microsol and you know, the little window maker stuff, I forgot what it's called now, Micro Crystal Clear, they also make primer specifically made for photo etch. You can find it put out by Microscale. PJC 2.0 is working on a 1/600 scale TOS Enterprise. Anybody have any tips? Well, just take your time, and you know, you've got the Smithsonian model that's been restored now that you can use for reference for either video or photos to get the color and everything and how it looks. Slappy Milk Toast, and one of my favorite YouTube handles or community handles is with us tonight. Nice to see you. Excalibur Starship Builders. Dan Harris says Boyd is $45 for an 8-ounce Speedsecker solid toner is a fair price. Was quoted from a distributor 90 minutes with me. Yeah, that's about right, Dan. It's like I said, it's not cheap, but it is very, very high quality paint. And again, you'll be able to make, by the time you reduce that, you know, you can make about a half a gallon of paint with that. So if you get a few toners at a time and get all your primary colors, like I've talked about before, get your primary colors, and then maybe get some brown and some silver. They have the silver in different, you know, texture. I prefer what they call the super fine, which you can barely see any metal flake in it at all, because especially like for one thing that's a pet peeve of mine is when you paint the scale model cars. If you're doing like a factory paint job, like on a muscle car from the 60s or 70s, the out of the can paints that you get from testers and all that, the metal flake is way too big in it, and it looks, to me, it makes the model look like a toy when you spray it with that stuff. It just or like those dune buggies used to look, you know, back in the day, or the glitter motorcycle helmets and all that. It's just too big. So that fine silver that they have is much finer than that, and it looks really nice when you put it on like a scale model car, like a 1/25th scale model car. It looks. I've gotten compliments about that when I've taken some of these models and shown them to people. You know, what kind of paint did you use? Because you can tell right away the difference, and that's the reason why. You know, if you're stuck with using spray can paints, it's not the worst thing in the world. But as I said, you know, but you can talk to them over there about all that. They have different, you know, if you want a little bit bigger metal flake, they have that as well. But you get you some silver, and then with the silver, you can mix black with it and make gunmetal gray. You can mix A little bit of yellow in with your um, yellow and brown will make gold. You get these basic colors and you can basically do anything. You can make any color you want, and I highly recommend if you're going to be doing a lot of painting and you're going to be doing doing quite a bit of this kind of work, learn how to mix your own colors if you can if you have the facilities and the place to be able to do it and everything. You'll save yourself a lot of hassle because even with the craft paints and everything else, sometimes you have to compromise. They don't have the exact colors. A good example of what I'm talking about is this turbine car that I want to do right now. I can guarantee you nobody's going to have that exact color. So I'm going to have to mix some paints together to get that color to look right. And so you want to learn how to do that if you can. But there's nothing wrong. Don't take any wrong, anybody. There's nothing wrong with spraying out of cans. If you have to do it that way, that's fine. I did my models that way for a long time too. Sometimes you want bigger metal flake, and in that case the cans look fine. Eric's asking about any new sci-fi model kits coming out. Yes, Eric, they are releasing one of the ones I'm really excited about that I know of is the Discovery 1 from 2001: A Space Odyssey. The Discovery, that long, ship that had that long spine and the big round thing in the front and the big engines in the back. Going to be something on the order of 35 inches long, something like that, put out by Mobius, due by the end of this year. Jerry Hedgecock, HDA Model Works, posted on our Google page the details about that, as well as some other new kits that are coming out. You have the new Proteus kit from Fantastic Voyage that's out now. We should be getting some word from Mobius fairly soon about the Mobius now has partial Star Trek license. They have the license for the JJ Abrams universe. All the movies. They're going to do a 1/350 scale. Oh no, I'm not going to think of the name. The ship that was in the newest movie that sort of looks like the NX-01. The Franklin, the USS Franklin. That's going to be released in 1/350 scale, so that should be a really nice kit. And then, of course, they're going to do a brand new Enterprise, the refit Enterprise, the A, which that little look we got out of it at the end of the movie, it looked like it was a little bit better design than what we saw in the first couple films. So we're going to be busy with sci-fi kits, it looks like. But I'm definitely on the list for that Discovery. That's a model that I've wanted for a long time. How can you not like from that film? And there's some resin kits out there, but being that it's going to be a styrene kit, it should be friendly for lighting. You should definitely want to light that baby up. Get those. Got to have the pod bay doors open, Hal. We had Hal as a guest on our show here about a year or so ago. Yeah, and like Space Pirate says, they're probably quite a bit more affordable than those resin garage kits. I imagine it's going to be probably around a $60 or $70 kit, maybe $80, but even that's better than $200 for a resin kit that you may or may not like when you get it. Yeah, Omar is right. It's a golden age of modeling right now. You can't ask for more. Um, you got literally nowadays, especially even if you're looking for vintage kits. Oh, and then another one I'll mention that not exactly sci-fi, but if you guys remember when we were kids back in the 70s, Walt Disney had this line of kits called the Pirates of the Caribbean. They were really cool because they were animated. You had like a little scene, of a skeleton, pirate skeleton, and he would like swing his sword, or the pirate chest would open and the guy would come flying out, and kind of like the strange change kits, the vampire and the mummy. And they were really cool, but they were always hard to get when we were kids. Well, round two is re-releasing those. They're releasing the first one, I think, due out in July, called X Marks the Spot, which was actually the best kit that they made. It's like a pirate on a raft, with a treasure chest on there, and you got part of the ship. You got the wheel, and you got a flag, and it's got some tremendous opportunity for doing, weathering and painting wood and all that kind of stuff. And it's animated. The guy comes flying out of the chest and all that. And those vintage kits on eBay go for around $300-400. And so now, I think they're retailing it for like $19 or something like that. And all they're doing is they're not calling it the Pirates of the Caribbean anymore because they don't have to use the Disney name and license for that. It's just going to be called X Marks the Spot or Hex Marks the Spot. But it's the old Pirates of the Caribbean kit, and they said that they're looking at their molds to see if they can bring back all of them. I think there was either 3 or 4 different ones. But I'm really excited about that too because that brings back some really fun childhood memories. And I built a couple of those when I was a kid, and they probably didn't do that great of a job on them back then, especially on the paint work. But uh, I'm excited to get one of those again and work on it. Like Space Pirate says too, it'd be nice to see if we could get a new model of the Cygnus from the Black Hole. Um, Maybe improve on the original NPC kit. That kit, the main problem with that one is that it's too short. What a lot of people were doing were buying 2 of those kits and putting 2 of the center sections together and making it the length that it's supposed to be. But try doing that nowadays, especially with those kits being $100-200 a piece, and hard to find. New kit probably be more accurate too. The old one's not too bad, but uh, with photo etch and everything now, you could really make that into something. I looked into building trying to get the parts for a studio scale kit of one of those, and half the stuff was missing. Otherwise, I would have went forward with it. But the problem with it was there was 3 or 4 guys collaborating on it, and half of the guys were saying, "Well, I may or may not have the parts," and you can't take a gamble like that when you're talking about investing like $1,000 in getting the parts. But it would be so cool to have the studio scale model hanging from your ceiling of that baby. Yeah, and Chris Cortella is like a treasure trove of model kit knowledge. And he's mentioning that they also had the Haunted Mansion series, like the Pirate series, with some animated stuff. Maybe they'll bring that one back too. Excalibur is asking about how do I like the UGH models. Well, they sent me 3 kits, and they're top quality. And a couple of my friends have bought that new uh, uh, Star Trek Phase 2 Enterprise, and they love it. Their quality of their stuff is just fantastic. Only thing I would say about it is that they're not meant to be lit. They're made out of solid resin, and I like to light my ships, but still be a nice display model. And that Phase 2 Enterprise is at 1/1000 scale, so it would go nicely with your 1/1000 scale Polar Lights kit. Both the refit and the original Constitution class ship. Got Armando just checking in. But unfortunately, guys, I'm going to have to be calling it a night here in a few minutes. So if anybody has any questions, pop them in there now for me. Otherwise, or for anybody else in here. Yeah, I read that too, Gadgetron. There, Disney was going to reboot Black Hole. I think maybe they should just leave that alone. That's kind of like rebooting Jaws. Can't do that. Ben Clemens, there is an Armageddon movie shuttle out there, but it's not that great of a kit. Yeah, the one you probably already have is the only one I know of. I think, yeah, Revell did make that. And you do have to change out the nose on it and do some work to it. There's been some people who've done it, and it turned out pretty good. Alpha Trion 92 checking in. Yeah, Rocket Boy, 1969. Yeah, the kits for the Alien series that Halcyon put out. If somebody could get those molds, they had so many good kits, and those kits are so expensive. You know, the Nostromo. The one that I've been looking at lately, trying to find, is the Alan Ripley and the Power Loader one. And boy, you can find it all right, but you're gonna pay. I yeah, I got a great deal on my Nostromo from my friend Armando. He happened to have more than one of those kits and sold it to me for what he paid for it, and so I'm really glad I got that. It was a awesome model to build. Omar's got a checkout for tonight. DM Mousetrap asking, has anyone ever built the cars from Death Race 2000? I've seen a couple of those on YouTube from the original film, not the reboot. B. Tilly is signing out. I think that's the signal, guys. Yep, it's coming up on 9 o'clock here. It's about 2 hours in, so I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. I'm going to go take some more allergy medicine and get some sleep. So we'll be back a week after next, guys. Remember, we're bi-weekly now, or every other week. So I don't expect anything to come up. I know I had kind of an unexpected thing last week, but I don't expect anything to come up for our next show. I don't think we have any holidays coming up, so we should be on our regular schedule. Same Sunday night, 7 o'clock USA Central Time. We'll start it up. Looking forward to seeing you guys then. Again, for those of you that are new, hop by our Google page. That's the Model Shop modeling community on Google Plus. We're growing pretty fast. I think we're up to over 600 members now, so we're doing good. And it's not about being big; it's about having fun and having great people in there. So stop by, introduce yourself, talk about what you're building on. You'll see a lot of people in there posting what they're working on, and we're right in the middle of our spring group build right now. Already thinking about, beyond that, guys, another 48-hour build. So if we wrap this one up here in June, maybe towards the end of July, we'll talk about a 48-hour build again. People seem to enjoy that one too. Give you guys some lead time on that, so you have time to pick out a kit and everything, and pick out what our subject's going to be. But anyway, looking forward to that too, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody answering their questions in the chat, that helping other people out tonight. We'll see you guys later. Take care, and happy modeling, everybody. Good night.